Thank you. Again, I want to thank everyone for coming this evening to the High Desert Water Candidates Forum, Yucca Valley's Septic Prohibition Crisis. We have a couple changes in our program this evening, one being that Supervisor Ramos will not be attending, but his field representative Mike Lipspitz will be. And Chad Mays is unable to attend due to a schedule conflict, as is our second moderator, Steve Witten. Before we get started, I'd like to ask everyone to please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Thank you. And again, if you have any questions, we have a couple hostess that are mingling among the crowd. If you have a question that you want to ask any of the candidates, please raise your hand and we will get a card and a pen to you. Ed has a... Okay, we're also pleased to have Assembly candidate Carolee Hargrove. She's going to be our speaker this evening, and she's going to talk or speak about the septic ban prohibition is a state mandate and how she would handle it if she wins election. Thank you.
I'm up, sorry. It's go time. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you tonight. I am Carolee Hargrove, candidate for the 42nd Assembly District. I also serve here on the Morongo Unified School Board. Like everyone here, I look forward to hearing what the High Desert Water District candidates have to say concerning Yucca Valley's septic crisis. As a candidate for the 42nd District, I know the Morongo Basin can set the gold standard on such issues. Now more than 3 years into a drought, California can learn a thing or two from us about water conservation. And I'm confident the same can apply to our septic situation. Though I am not an expert, I believe that we must create a sewage disposal system that not only protects our precious groundwater, but is not reliant on water for the transportation of human waste. Excuse me, I've been running 100 miles an hour. Thanks to the organizations like the Morongo Basin Conservation Association, we are showing the world how to develop wind and solar technologies without degrading our local vistas and diminishing our property values with massive solar turbines on our buttes and massive power corridors overwhelming our landscape. I can tell you that I also understand the apprehension in our community about the costs involved in dealing with this septic crisis. Just sit on a school board, and the first lesson you learn is how to make do with very little. Public education is being starved and regulated at a very time that corporations are being fattened and deregulated. In fact, the shift of public funds to the private sector is threatening America's ability to respond to virtually any crisis involving infrastructure. When the Desert Sun endorsed my candidacy, my opponent, apologies to his father Roger Mays, was said to offer the old refrain of lower taxes and more business-friendly deregulation. Well, I'm here to tell you that is the kind of thinking that got us into the situation we are currently facing, with underfunded schools, a crumbling infrastructure, a community tethered to jobs in fast food and big boxes that send our profits far away, leaving us with cheap goods, signal lights, traffic islands, and a septic nightmare. California is the 8th largest economy on the planet. We needn't quake before big money interests. Corporations are not going to turn their backs on 38 million consumers. So I'm here tonight to listen to what our candidates have to say, and I'm hoping that I hear about the actions we can take in the high desert as opposed to what we are asked to settle for. Once again, my name's Carolee Hargrove. It's a pleasure to be here, and I also ask for your vote in this upcoming election. As a school board member, I have kept every promise that I have made, and I intend to do so in the State Assembly while ensuring that I work for you, the people, not only for the people with power. So thank you so much.
Is that right? I'm thinking I'm next. Okay. Thank you all for coming. For those who don't know me, I'm Mike Lipsitz. I'm the field rep for Supervisor Ramos, a county supervisor for 3rd District, representing the High Desert. Also known as County Whipping Boy. If you have any problems with the county, call my office. Thank you for coming. I'm really excited to see the interest. You know, Morongo Basin is served by 5 water companies and 4 county special districts, each one with its own unique challenges. In Morongo Valley, they pay some of the highest rates, and the water is contaminated with uranium and gross alpha. In Pioneer Town, there's a problem with supply. We hope that to see before the end of this term of the supervisor, we hope there'll be a pipeline leading from over on Pioneer Town Road up to Pioneer Town, and that will solve their problems. In addition to their supply, their water is also contaminated. In 29 Palms, they have the unusual situation of the fire department being under the auspices of the water company, and that presents another unique set of problems. Joshua Basin Water District just this afternoon cut the ribbon on their recharge ponds, which are just down Verbena, almost across from the hospital in the north of the highway there. Big settling ponds that will bring Mojave Water Agency down to their area, and they'll be able to store it in the underground aquifer and use it for the future. They're also putting aside money for the inevitable wastewater treatment plant that they anticipate will one day also have to be installed. And who am I leaving out? Bighorn. Bighorn would be my water agency if we get our way out in Landers. It serves about half of Landers, the rest served by county special districts, and the supervisor's office has been instrumental in helping the people there to cut ties with special districts and move over to Bighorn. And that leaves, I don't think I've left any out, High Desert Water District, which is facing probably the greatest challenge of any of the water agencies in the high desert that we know of. Whoever ends up on this board, following this election, this is the board that will see the wastewater treatment plant through completion. And regardless of whatever happened in the past, finger pointing, scapegoating won't solve Yucca Valley's wastewater treatment problems. It will take an effort from the entire community, homeowners, businesses, and those who shop and travel here. It is very big, and I really, hats off to all the candidates, win or lose. It is whoever ends up on that board can be certain that all their efforts will never be appreciated fully. They'll never be compensated adequately for what it is they have to do. It's a thankless job. Any pitfalls will be readily pointed out to them, and their successes may or may not be recognized. So it is brave. It is a brave proposition that they undertake. So for the 3 new board members who will come on, hats off. And I see that it looks like we have 2 of our candidates. None of the incumbents, I don't think, are here tonight, and that's unfortunate. I am glad to see there's community interest. Obviously, the incumbents have a lot of attention on the dais at the regular meetings, and I know that both of the challengers have been attending meetings for quite a long time and are very familiar with what goes on in High Desert Water District. It is sometimes things are more clear to see what's going on at the dais when sitting on the audience side than it is when you're seated. And we'll hope that I know that these 2 candidates will use that to their advantage during the election and if seated to the board. So I'd just like to thank you. The supervisor was not able to make it here this evening. He will be in Joshua Tree on Monday night, that's the 13th, at the Municipal Advisory Council meeting. That's at the Joshua Tree Community Center at 6:30. And so that is a council made up of a representative from all 8 unincorporated areas in the county, in Morongo Basin. So please come out to that if you can. He'll be speaking on the state of the basin. And thank you for having me, and for those who put this together, really appreciate it, taking the interest and making sure that this happens. Thank you.
Thank you to Carolee Hargrove and Mike Lipsitz for your comments tonight. I am Dr. Kurt Duffy. I will be your moderator for this evening. Steve Whitten is unable to make it tonight, but he did forward me all the comments and questions he collected by email. Just before the proceedings tonight, I had the two candidates that are here draw numbers to determine seat order. Margot Sturgis drew seat number 1. Margot, would you please come take your seat? Big hand for Margot. And Gina Orban drew seat number 2. Gina? Here are the ground rules for this evening. Starting from chair number 1, each candidate will be allowed a 2-minute introduction. The timer will go off when there's 30 seconds remaining in the 2-minute period. After the introductions, candidates will respond to questions drawn at random. These questions include questions submitted by email to Steve Whitten, as well as questions that have been submitted tonight. If you think of another question, please write it down on the card submitted. Someone will come around to collect that, and we can add that to the random drawing as well. The candidate seated in chair 1 will respond first to the first question. The candidate in chair 2 will respond first to the second question, and so on. Each of the other candidates, in order of chair number, will have a chance to respond to each question. Candidates may have up to 2 minutes to respond to each question. Again, the timer will go to the yellow light once there are 30 seconds remaining. There will be no crosstalk between the candidates, nor interjection by audience members. Candidates will also be permitted 1-minute closing statements in reverse order of the introductions. Lastly, the moderator reserves the right to discard questions that are deemed irrelevant or incriminating. Let us start tonight with Ms. Sturgis and a 2-minute introduction.
Hi, everybody. My name is Margot Sturgis, and I welcome you to attend this forum this evening. This is really a very, very serious and critical crossroads in our community, the biggest challenge that we're facing. And as it was mentioned earlier by Mr. Lipsitz, it's important for the community to come together and pull together because we're all in this together. I am running for office because I really feel that I need to put my voice to support the sewer, to take care of our septic prohibition. Now, having said that, I also am concerned about the cost because they are continuing to go higher and higher and higher. And that really bothers me. I find myself somehow possibly in favor of supporting the sewers, but yet reluctant because of the cost and what burden it's going to cause to our community. And I don't want anybody to lose their home or to lose their business. I know that there's a lot of things that are going on, and I could have very easily have sat back and let the same thing continue forward, but I saw a pattern from about 5 years to today. And I know we're not supposed to look back, but by looking back, I can establish where we're going to be heading because it's a definite pattern. There's some feet dragging. So I'm running so that the voters have a choice and can have a fresh face on the dais. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sturgis. Ms. Orban?
Thank you for coming tonight. My name's Gina Orban. I'm a candidate for the High Desert Water Board. I come to you with passion and commitment to get our sewer project completed. Some of you heard of me on the radio, maybe seen my ads in the newspaper, but wonder, does she really exist? I do exist. I'm the real deal. I'm ready to serve you. I have over 30 years of experience in construction project and contract management. I've completed multi-million-dollar projects on time, within budget. In addition, I've owned my own electrical contracting business, and I have a state contracting license. At the age of 67, I'm retired. In 2005, my husband and I bought our forever home in Yucca Valley. Our family first started coming here in the 1960s and bought property in Pipes Canyon. I'm a permanent resident. Further delays in the sewer project are costly and not acceptable. Like you, increasing my cost of living by about $100 a month is a big deal. Our town cannot afford more delays that have caused this project cost to increase $21 million. I'm a fiscal conservative, and I hate to see money wasted. My knowledge and experience managing large construction projects will be an asset to the board. I bring something new and needed. It's an on-hands, in-depth understanding about how large construction projects work.
Thank you, Ms. Orban. Thank you, Ms. Orban. You had requested from the moderators another 2 minutes to discuss the forum itself. Do you wish to take advantage of those time now?
I do.
Okay.
Again, good evening and welcome. I've asked to make a personal statement before, hopefully I thought we were going to do this before we started, but the truth is often the first casualty in politics. There are two candidates up here tonight, and I'm not Margo Sturgis. I'm not a part of an illusionary slate of candidates that include Margo and Dan. I want to 100% refute the perception that I'm aligned with Margo or any other candidate. I have funded my own campaign, and I have no political debts. My own involvement in this event is a $75 contribution that I made to help pay for this room rental. I did not participate in the advertising or the selection of the event team. You were not told this is a candidate-run and funded forum. I believe in honesty and full transparency. There are two candidates here tonight, and I'm Gina Orban.
Thank you. Let's go to our first question selected at random. And this will go first to Ms. Sturgis for a 2-minute response, and then to Ms. Orban. The question is, with the recent updates to the cost of Phase 1 of the sewer project, in retrospect, do you think Measure U, if it had passed, would have assisted in lowering the current assessments for our citizens in Phase 1?
Thank you very much for the question. There's a lot of folks that voted against Measure U because it could not be earmarked or designated, and that is the bottom line. That particular measure divided our town, unfortunately, and so there was not a clear winner in that situation, but the measure was defeated. There is no doubt in my mind, had that Measure U, that tax initiative, had that been earmarked instead of a general fund tax, I believe everybody would have passed it, and that was the reason for it not being passed. I am very hopeful that when more of our residents get their assessment votes and their ballots and they see the amount of money that is going to be assessed against them, they might be a little bit more open to another initiative because it does take a 2/3 majority to pass something like that. And I would be supportive of a 0.5% sales tax to lower the sewer assessment. On the other hand, the town only has 1 penny, so it would be nice to have the whole 1% go to the sewer. But the reality is that we need to take care of the roads. The sewer is coming in; they're going to be paving the roads, and there's nothing put aside for the maintenance of that. So that's my concern. And thank you very much.
Ms. Orban?
I do not oppose revenue measures to decrease the sewer project costs. The town voters must make that decision themselves. I would support a 0.5-cent sales tax if it was stipulated to go strictly to the sewer project. Measure U did not pass. We really can't talk about the past. I think we need to move forward, and somebody is going to have to bring forward another initiative.
Thank you very much. This is our second question of the evening, and we will start with Ms. Orban first. And the question is the water which is taking care of the golf course from their own wells, is it recycled?
Is the water recycled from the wells that the golf course is using? The golf course has an interesting situation. It owns the water underneath the land, and it went through a court case and won a decision for those rights. And the water board has no jurisdiction over that. There's the water is only used for that land. It can't be used for anything else. So in a sense of being recycled, I'm sure it percolates down back into the ground and eventually gets to the aquifer. There are 2 of the 3 wells working currently on the site, and all I can say is they have the right for the water. We do have the water in the Warren Basin for them to use, and I don't see that it's a major problem.
Ms. Sturgis, your reply.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm concerned about the golf course because I want the golf course to be in effect. It's important, it increases the values of our homes. And I wanted it to be in private hands. But actually what happened was the board of directors met after pursuing the water rights. They met at one day before the foreclosure sale, and they all agreed not to bid against the person that took over the golf course. And when I was trying to find out exactly how much money was spent pursuing those water rights, here's an example of what I received. Everything was redacted, and I thought, well, how am I going to find out about how our money is being spent pursuing the water rights for the golf course? It turns out that the golf course came with a right of 585 acre-feet, and they can not be charged any more than $15. Currently, we are paying the High Desert Water District through the Mojave Water Agency around $450 an acre-foot. So that's going to be $200,000, approximately $200,000 that we will have to pay as ratepayers to subsidize the golf course based on $450 an acre-foot. Now, recently, on July 2014, we heard about farmers paying $1,100 an acre-foot because of the drought. And they used to only pay $140 a year ago. So who knows where this is going to go, this exposure to the ratepayers. And I'm really disappointed that they didn't buy the property, strip the water rights, and then let it go back to whatever it was going to be. But thank you for the question.
Thank you. So this question goes to Ms. Orban first. It's a technical question here, and it's making me think I don't know what interest rate I'm paying on my credit cards, but what is the interest rate on the bond?
The current interest rate on the bond is 1.9%. That's, that's 1.9 is the interest rate that the State Water Fund would offer the High Desert Water District. It's 1.5% higher than that. So right now, we're in a situation where we do not have the assessment district ballots mailed. They should have been mailed in August, and now they're talking about mailing them after the first of the year. This is a problem because this delays the project. Without this particular document passed and this assessment district formed, we cannot secure a loan. We need the loan to move forward on this project. It seems to me that they are putting all of the people in Yucca Valley at risk. Bond rates could rise, and if it was me, if I get in there, I would like to see them put this ballot out to vote in November as soon as possible.
Ms. Sturgis, same question. What is the interest rate on the bond?
I'm going to address the interest rate that they're seeking for the state revolving fund loan. I do not know what the ongoing bond rate is currently. I am concerned with the fact that the current board of directors is touting a 0% interest rate. I spoke to the state revolving fund director. He said there is no 0% interest rate. They have to charge a percentage to cover the costs. So 0% is something to say that we're seeking, but that's not the reality. And I asked and I pleaded with him to stop using that. There is one town that received a 0% interest rate, and we discovered through public records requests, they only received it for the first 10 years. And nobody knows what the interest rate was for the next 20 years. So basically, I know that the interest rate is going to be important. It's going to mean millions of dollars. But also, besides the interest rate, what about the actual costs? You know, whether the interest rate is 0 or 0.5%. If these costs keep escalating, which they have been, then it really won't matter what the interest rate is because of all these high costs. And I do believe that that's due to the fact that we do not have a qualified leader, a general manager, and they're making mistakes and dragging their feet, and it's costing us money. We really need to get some experienced person on board immediately. Thank you.
Sturgis. And I hope you had a chance to catch your breath because the next question comes to you first. Okay. There is a lot of confusion about exemptions from the SOAR system. If a property owner meets the requirements of the ban, can that property be exempted from the assessment, and how would they go about it?
That's a very good question. Right now, the State Water Regional Quality Control Board has an exemption clause for the septic prohibition. It's very stringent. It's actually for a person who has to show economic distress, and also the costs are costly to hook up. That person has to apply and submit 5 years of their tax records, and they have to have an estimate, 3 estimates for the cost of connections, and then they have to have it approved by the water district, and then they go before the board. Now, I do believe that it would be great to have 3 volunteers that would do that paperwork now rather than later. The 5 years tax records are easy. The IRS has them just like that. But that's just going to be for a small percentage of the homeowners, and they will need the help on that. The other exemptions that are taking place are on parcels, because supposedly they're not developable. So there's 600 parcels out there that are not going to be assessed for whatever reasons. And that's why I am asking for your vote, because I want to get on the dais and I want to be able to look and make sure that everybody is getting a fair shake. They're asking to assess our homes for $18,000, $100 a month payment, and you know that's a big burden. But I want to make sure that that's all going across the board, that there's no favorite parcels or any concessions that are being made. Thank you.
Ms. Orban, I'm going to repeat the question because it's a long one. There is a lot of confusion about exemptions from the SOAR system. If a property owner meets the requirements of the ban, can that property be exempted from the assessment, and how would they go about it?
There is a lot of confusion, and the High Desert Water District and the state regional board has to come together and put a program together and get these requirements out there so that people can figure out whether they fall into this group. One of the things that we don't know is what is actually being exempted. Now, right now, it looks like it's just the laterals, and if you don't hook up, then you won't have to pay the lateral fee, but you're still going to have to pay the assessment fee. But all of this still needs to be worked out and needs to be gotten out to the public so that the public understands where they stand with this particular exemption. Now, one of the interesting things is the exemption is not forever. So at some point in time, you will have to hook up to the sewer system. It may be when the property is sold or whatever, but those things have to be clarified.
Okay, this next question starts with Ms. Orban. This is a long question, so if you want me to repeat it, I will. There's a lot of data in here, so you may want to take notes. Understanding that the town of Yucca Valley has a population that has grown from 19,472 in 2005 to 21,132 based on the 2010 census, a population increase of 8.5% over 8 years, or about 1% a year. Further understanding that not everyone in the town of Yucca Valley is ever projected to be on the proposed sewage system, why would you design a sewage system to handle 60,000 to 80,000 people when the population is expected to grow no more than 20%, or to be about 25,500? Let me know if you want me to repeat any of those statistics.
No, thank you. The town averages out about 1% growth a year. In the last, say 5 years, we haven't grown very much, but there are years when we grow a couple percent and years when we don't grow very much at all. So it averages out to about 1%. That's a good growth rate for this particular community. The sewer system was projected and designed by the engineers with the direction of the board and the district manager, and they came up with the numbers. I don't know why, if these numbers are true, why it seems that this is overbuilt. They told us that this was built for a 50% growth rate. And so I can't really answer that question. I would have to have more information, but that's about all I can say on it.
Thank you. Ms. Sturgis, do you need any more information from that?
Yes.
Okay, I'll read the whole thing again. Understanding that the town of Yucca Valley has a population that has grown from 19,472 in 2005 to 21,132 based on the 2010 census, a population increase of 8.5% over 8 years, or about 1% a year. Further understanding that not everyone in the town of Yucca Valley is ever projected to be on the proposed sewage system, why would you design a sewage system to handle 60,000 to 80,000 people when the population is expected to grow no more than 20%?
Okay. I think I understand the gist of that question. There is a lot of data in there. The statistics are correct. 20,700 is our population. The town of Yucca Valley even factors in a 2% growth rate, and you have to project forward. The wastewater treatment plant is located at a very good facility location. It's downstream because they have a gravity system. In their presentations, the engineers are designing to hold and handle a certain capacity, and it's being set up and will be set up, from what was explained, to expand. So right now they have this large piece of property, and they're looking in the future, because that's really what we're here today for, to protect and help our families and friends in the future. Now, when they started doing the piping, they're doing the collection system, to put in the size pipe to accommodate a 60,000 or 80,000, we wouldn't have the flow to accommodate it. And then we would be forced to be using our good water to flush down the residue to the edge. So Atkins Engineering has done some modifications in certain areas to accommodate the fact that they have to have a certain size pipe. And I do believe that they have some goals to expand as we grow. So I don't believe they're building today for a 60,000 or 80,000.
Thank you, Ms. Sturgis. I'm going to ask you to bring your microphone down a little bit closer to you. We might hear you a little bit better. Good, good. Next question is going to begin with you. What do you feel would be the best method of allocating low-income assistance for the new sewer system?
That's a very good question, and I have to say that I give my hats off to the Wastewater Advisory Committee, a group of citizens that have been meeting and discussing all the options. It's been a pet peeve of mine that the Board of Directors removed the low-income credit that was given to our low-income folks. They were getting a $6 flat rate reduction on their monthly bill. They paid for their water usage. So having done that some years back, it returned $50,000 to the coffers. But I still think we need to take care of the low income. The main thing that we're looking at right now, or they are looking at, is the management of managing something like this. There's a lot of paperwork involved, and so hopefully we can get a grant to help them, but they do need help. Otherwise, they're going to lose their home.
Ms. Orban, same question.
Yes, I'm also concerned about low income. On the table over there, I have formulated a plan, and you can take one of these sheets. And basically, it asked the district to come together with the town and any of the nonprofit organizations in town and pull together funding for this particular situation, just for the sewer, not for water, but just for sewer. And they can do several things. It's a town and a group community effort. I think everybody needs to understand that this sewer impacts everybody, but especially the low income. So if I'm going to propose and look for grants or any programs. Right now there's a program available. You have to have a really bad or low income, and it's set up for people over 62. It's very hard to qualify for, but I'm going to ask the district to help people sign up for those kinds of programs, because low-income people usually don't have computers. And so the other issue is helping them get these programs. Also, we can talk to social services, and as these low-income people, their finances change, they might be eligible for other revenue sources. So it's a complicated situation, and I think that we need to pull together as a town to solve it.
Thank you. The next question I pulled out is directed to Director Huff, but we're only taking questions that can go across all of the candidates. Director Huff communicated yesterday that he had a prior commitment, would not be able to be here. Director Mays indicated that he has another meeting at this time, and at the time that the meeting was scheduled, Director Muncy said he was unavailable for this evening. So I just thought I'd share that information and go to the next question, which goes to Ms. Orban. What qualifies you to fill this position?
What I think qualifies me, and I hope you think also, is I have lots of project management experience. I have a lot of contract management experience. I've done and worked on multi-million-dollar projects. Some of the projects you may have heard of. One of them was Disneyland Space Mountain. I did a 21-story office building in Orange County. I did a coal desulfurization plant down in San Juan Capistrano. I've done lots of pumping stations for the Irvine Company. The company I work for did lots of projects over at Fountain Valley sewer treatment facility. I've done a generating plant for Metropolitan Water District at Lake Matthews. So I have lots of unique experience in project managing. I have a plan for this project, and it's going to take longer than 2 minutes to give it to you, but I will try to fit it in somewhere along the line before the evening. So I've also owned a small business, and I have a electrical contractor's license, and I think that at this stage in the game, what I'm seeing is lacking is understanding of how these projects come together, what decisions need to be made, and in what timely fashion.
Thank you. Ms. Sturgis, same question. What qualifies you to fill this position?
Yes. I'm very happy that you have an opportunity to hear from Gina with her qualifications. My particular qualifications on the dais will be that I am going to watch the monies and the funds and any wasteful spending. I do believe it's your money and you're entitled to see it. I will ask the board to start posting their salaries, the income that they're receiving, the meetings that they're attending, the medical insurance that they're receiving, and put it on the website for full transparency. I have the opportunity to bring my experience to the dais of having attended the town council meetings for 7 years and the water board meetings for 6 years, and having learned, attending and studying the Brown Act and different policies, that I can bring my experience so that it's run more efficient. I do not think that it should be my responsibility to correct the minutes to show when they award a contract, the dollar amount should be on there. I had to go back and forth, and the young lady said, no, that's what they taught me in class. And I said, okay, I don't want to argue the issue. And I just picked up the phone and I spoke to John Brown of BBK, and he says, okay, you're right. In the past, they've always, and it's required, when you award a contract, that the minutes reflect it's an action item, you put the dollar amount in there. And then they corrected the minutes. I am just a civilian. It isn't really my place to do that, but I felt that it was my responsibility. So I think I can bring that to the dais to take care of the transparency and to follow through. And if you want a good example, follow the town of Yucca Valley. They're very, very well on their minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And as I tell my students, while this question may be a yes or no answer, we'd like you to give a full explanation. So this one goes to Ms. Sturgis. Do you believe that the proposed sewer project conforms to legal requirements?
Oh, well, no, I can't answer that yes or no. I do believe that they're taking all the steps to make sure that it does reach legal requirements. I know that Ms. Orban has some concerns that I'll let her bring up, because there's been other projects where they have not checked whether to the state requirements, and that's really important for this particular project. Please be aware that no matter who gets elected to the dais, I do believe there are groups out there that are ready to challenge whether or not the sewer system is legal. The attorneys, Best and Krieger, are the best in the business. They know their water business, and they are prepared for any challenge. I do believe that the board of directors is following what the guidelines are. They're taking advice from Carollo Engineering, and I do believe that that will stand with their sewer project. As far as the parcels, there's a Prop 218, and I do believe that the engineer's report probably needs to be a little more finer, but they probably will accept that engineer's report, and it's not like they're doing this for the very first time. Carollo Engineering specializes in sewer projects. So I do believe that the septic prohibition does not mandate a sewer project, but I do believe that that's the direction that the board is going on, and it will be done legally. Thank you.
Ms. Orban.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. Do you believe that the proposed sewer project conforms to legal requirements?
I do. The High Desert Water District has a great council, and they would not proceed on a project and spend this kind of money if they weren't following all of the requirements. Title 22, the engineers have to follow, and also Proposition 218 is being followed. So I'm not really quite sure what the concern is by the public. I know that there are concerns. I've read Prop 218 and I can't seem to find anything. I'm not a qualified lawyer, so I certainly wouldn't be able to counsel anybody on this particular issue. I would pass it off to the lawyers that the High Desert Water District currently hire. So, but from what I can see, yes, it conforms.
Okay, Ms. Orban, this question comes back to you first. If you knew of a less expensive and more effective way to meet the RWQCB's ban, by the way, that stands for Regional Water Quality Control Board, ban of discharges, would you abandon the sewer system plan?
You have to understand that alternate methods have been looked at. I've done some homework and looked at alternate methods. I'm not saying that alternate methods, technology and alternate methods one day won't be such that we won't even need toilets in our house. We'll just put on a pair of fancy underwear and it'll take care of everything. But I don't think we're there yet. And from everything that I've read, a single source sewer system is the least expensive way to take care of the problem that we have here in Yucca Valley. Now, the Regional Water Quality Control Board doesn't really care what kind of system we use. They will look at the systems that we're proposing and do an evaluation, yes. But the mandate is not on the type of sewer system, it's really on keeping the water safe and measuring up to the quality standards that they require. I think in overall, if you take a look at all of the things that you have to do to maintain, say, a small sewer or a private sewer system or maybe a little community sewer system, it would be a nightmare to try to manage.
Sturgis, same question.
Yes, the Wastewater Advisory Committee has spent many, many months looking into different alternatives. Let me back up just a little bit. Many are saying this is a state mandated, that the sewers are mandated. No, the sewers are not mandated. What is mandated is to protect the groundwater and to stop discharging of the septic, using the septic tanks. Now, in a letter that was sent out to close to 6,000 homeowners, the Regional Water Quality Control Board says that there are several options to address the problem, and property owners are free to choose the manner of complying with the prohibition, including installing individual advanced on-site treatment systems and sewage package plants. So the Regional Water Quality Control Board recognizes that there are alternatives out there. They are endorsing the High Desert Water District's sewer project as the most reasonable way to collectively address this problem. As it is right now, with an $18,000 lien or assessment on the home and the maintenance costs, if the costs keep going up, then there's going to be some other people who are going to look at the individual package treatment plants. They are a nightmare for maintaining, but you know what? They've been doing them for a long, long time in rural areas, so it's not like it's impossible to do it. But I do believe that there are other ways that will be becoming more economical if the sewer project keeps escalating in costs. Then we're going to have to pull back and say, whoa, let's see what else we can do. Maybe a cluster collection system, a step stake. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to discard a second question about the legal conforming of the proposed plan. I'm also going to discard a second question about the golf course being watered. And this third question here, I'm going to read, and I'll let you interpret and respond as you may. And this question goes first to Margot Sturgis. Why did we fund a pipeline to bring dirty water to Yucca Valley?
You broke up.
I'm not sure. Sorry about this microphone here. Sorry about this microphone. It cuts off whenever I stop speaking, and I haven't found a way to keep it on full time. I may switch to the other one. So the question is, and it's a bit incriminating. Why did we fund a pipeline to bring dirty water to Yucca Valley?
Okay. Years ago, the community got together because there was a building moratorium and we were overdrafting our aquifer, and our community came together and we built the pipeline, which will be paid off pretty soon. It came in under budget and less expensive. Now, unfortunately, the water that is coming in from up north, it's not the best water. It's not coming off the glaciers of Alaska. But what I remember being told, it's the only water we have. And so this particular water is full of contaminants, and it's coming in to us to supplement our aquifer and replenish and recharge our aquifer, and it's going through a lot of treatment because it's being placed in a recharge pond so that when it filters down, it'll get rid of some of these pollutants that are in the water. That's why it's really important that we really have to get this sewer project to protect our own groundwater, and we won't be dependent on the polluted water that we are getting from up north. It goes through farmland and grasslands, and there is sometimes, I won't even say it now because we're drinking the water, but there is some questionable items that are floating around in the water, but you know, it's the only water we have. And if we have to get that water and then use reverse osmosis down the road, then so be it. But it's the only water, and so we need to accept it, embrace it, and then treat it and make sure it doesn't contaminate our aquifer.
Ms. Orban.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. Why did Yucca Valley fund a pipeline to bring dirty water in?
That's a little bit like asking, when will you stop beating your wife? You know, we use that water to dilute the nitrates in our aquifer. It's very interesting to me that we're making the assumption that this water is dirty. I'm sure it has some pollutants in it that are really insignificant or take care of themselves as they percolate in these ponds. But I really think I would have to investigate the truth to that question.
Okay, thank you. This is another complex question, but a very good question. I'm sure it concerns many people out here. And the question reads, and this goes first to Ms. Orban, I know there is concern about providing low-cost loans for low-income homeowners in Phase 1. Is there or should there be comparable consideration for owners of investment properties, rental homes, small apartment buildings, small and older business buildings, etc., whose living may depend on these small investment properties and who are not considered wealthy?
Okay, one more time.
Okay. The basis for the question is there or should there be comparable consideration for owners of investment properties such as small and older business buildings, rental homes, small apartment buildings? They're not necessarily wealthy people, but they will be impacted by the assessment fees.
And they're talking about, should there be low interest rate loans available to them?
No, just some sort of, they're saying low-cost loans, but I assume it can be taken to be assistance in general for those type of property owners.
We get back to the fact that some of these, this project is going to impact a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. If they need supplementary loans to pay, then they're going to have to qualify. But we're all getting the same loan rate for our assessment. And as far as I know, everybody is being assessed and has an opportunity to take advantage of the state revolving fund loan, which is at present at 1.9%, and is being asked for consideration for this particular project of $146 million as a possible interest rate at 1%. We won't know what that percentage is, but in any event, everybody that's being assessed should have access to that loan. So if they need additional assistance beyond what's being assessed, then that's something they need to take up, and we talked about that before, as being an issue that needs to be identified and all the regulations brought out on what kind of exemptions or so forth can happen. That's all I can say to speak to that issue.
Ms. Sturgis, do you need me to repeat the question?
No, because it's a very good question. This is really an important issue because there are a lot of folks that are renting, and apartment owners that own units or homes that they're renting out are not going to get any assistance under the current plan. Any assistance to low income would probably just be owner-occupied single residence and would not apply to apartment units or large or other homes that are not owner-occupied. Back in 2010, the High Desert Water District was chasing a wild goose chase of setting aside Paradise Valley, that section they called it Phase 1A, that was in 2010, saying that this is a low-income area and we're trying to seek grants for that particular little pocket. And they didn't really do a study of demographics to verify whether that was low-income area. There's a lot of homeowners, a lot of landlords that rent to the low income in the Paradise Valley area. So I don't see how there could be any help to our landlords because they are also going to have to pass this on. And I do believe there's going to be an evacuation of our town when these fees are passed on to our low income and to our senior citizens, very much similar to Apple Valley, where every third home on the block was in foreclosure. And that would be very tragic. Business owners have been their mom and pops. They're not getting any assistance, and that is a tragedy, and that has not been addressed. But it's a very good question, and I will remember that question, and I will hunt that down and try to find a way.
Thank you. I'm going to change the wording of this question just a little bit so it is less personally directed. Do you regard the High Desert Water District's general manager as being effective and affordable? To Ms. Sturgis first.
Oh, bingo. Okay. You know, when I decided to run for office, they wouldn't allow me to take the title of watchdog or concerned citizen, and so they agreed that since I write about my investigation, they put me down as an investigative reporter. I do request a lot of documents, and I am very, very disappointed that 7 years ago, the board of directors at that time decided to put the financial director, the CFO, as an interim general manager. Lee Pearl was exiting, and I have an article from the High Desert Star back in 2007. He was praised. He was only a 4.5-year employee as a CFO. Currently, at the time, the cost for the general manager was $134,888 plus $15,000 in deferred compensation. This particular CFO ended up taking that position, even though they allocated $30,000 to hire a firm to look for somebody. And this CFO, I believe, is costing our water district a lot of money. He's dragging his feet, he's inexperienced, he doesn't know what he's doing, he keeps all the balls in the area, and he's getting close to $298,000 of our taxpayer money, and he's not being effective. I don't like to use the word incompetent, but I do believe he's a nice person, but he is incompetent. And unfortunately, I'm not out to hurt his feelings, but I do believe that we deserve somebody who has experience in leadership and experience, because this is costing us millions. One mistake after another, and then we turn around and now the cost of the sewer is up. So I'm really glad that you asked me that question.
Ms. Orban?
Very interesting question. All I can say is poor decisions in planning create poor outcomes. We've seen this project go from 2009, when they said that they were going to get the project completed and up and running by 2012. Didn't happen. We've seen this project then go from that period to 2014. They said it was going to be up and running. It didn't happen. We've seen the project recently stall with the assessment district vote, and now we're pushing that off until after the first of the year. These types of delays in construction only mean cost. They mean nothing more than that. And we need good management and good direction from the board to keep pushing this project forward. I will give you that direction, and I will push this project forward. That is my main concern. This project's been sitting around too long. We need to get this project done now, not later, and that will help protect the cost. Also, to get the project done now means to also get it done in a short period of time. I propose we get this project done in 36 months or less and have it up and running.
Thank you. Thank you. I have another question about watering of the golf course that seems to be an important issue to the community, but we have addressed it already. I have another question about if the candidates support building a sewer, and both of the candidates have responded to that. Another question about their take on alternative systems. Both candidates have spoken to that one. This one is sort of a tie into, I shouldn't say that, but you may have brought up some of these points with your last answers, but the question is, why have so few schedules been met over the last 10 years regarding the sewer project? And that goes to Ms. Orban first.
Okay, my one-word explanation is inexperience. There's nobody on the water board, nobody at the district that has any experience with large projects. There's also a funding problem. We haven't gotten help from the state in getting this project kicked off. And so they do have some excuses, but I think overall this project has been delayed way too long. And there's a lot of different things. I've got 17, 18 items on a sheet that we need to do, and we need to do it now. Nobody's planning. There's not a plan. I have a plan. Nobody's pushing the engineers to get things done on time. The consultant isn't helping the the district, or the district is managing the consultant. I can't tell from my position up here in this chair. I would be able to see it better if I was on the board. So I promise you that I would, if I'm elected, I'm going to get this project moving, and get it moving, get it a shovel in the dirt, get this project done, get this behind us.
Thank you. Ms. Sturgis?
Well, I do believe that the High Desert Water District is lacking experience, and I do believe that that's why Gina Orban should be on the dais, because she has a unique experience that we need right now. I really think that we have some very nice persons that are serving on the board, but they become stale. I do believe that they are just wonderful persons, but they're happy to just show up and go on to the next meeting without really digging in their heels and getting something done. And that will begin when we get a new director of a general manager. The attempt was requested by Gina Orban to hire a project manager, and they respected her request and they put it on the agenda. The next thing we know, at the September 17th meeting, it was $400,000 to hire a project manager. It spun out of control, something that was not on the agenda. Corolla Engineers put a fourth item up as an alternative, that they would be the project manager, and somebody from the audience, one of his colleagues, said 5% of the project. So the agenda item was for $400,000 to hire a project manager on top of paying the general manager, and then it spun out of control to $7 million as 5% of the project. And I think that type of wandering around is costing us money, and I do believe it's our general manager that needs to be replaced with somebody who can put this ship and put it in the right direction and not veer off to the left or to the right. And it's costing us money. It's costing us money. The longer we delay, the costs are going to go up, and we really need to have an overall outlook and a plan and a blueprint, and our general manager is not capable of it. And I do believe that this is something that Gina can bring to the board with her expertise. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This next question may remind some of you of the game show The Price is Right. It goes to Ms. Sturgis first. How much will the sewers really cost?
Oh, boy. Yeah, I wish I had my crystal ball to look here. It's kind of scary. You know, I do believe it started out at $125 million, and then each time we turn around, it has gone up. And the unfortunate thing is that they don't even have a design for the plant, the sewer plant. And it was something that was pegged around $30,000 for the plant itself, and yet Corolla Engineering, who did the Los Osos project, bid $36 million, and that plant came in at $48 million. So there's a lot of unknown costs out there. Now, if you're talking about all the phases included, it's really going to be astronomical. I don't see how our little community can possibly attack all of this. So taking it in little bites, you know, phase 1 and then phase 2 and phase 3 is really important. But when I was told that as bad as things are now, the costs are spiraling out of control, they could get worse. I mean, that made me sick, because I watch the money. I'm the watchdog. I'm the one that watches how they spend the money and where they spend the money, and that's why I want to be on the dais, so that I can watch out for the little people. That's me included. I have limited funds, and I do believe that that's an important thing, because it's going to spiral out of control, and then it's going to be not possible.
Ms. Orban?
It's very hard to tell what this project's really going to cost if we can't get it under control. Right now, the delays are just unexcusable, and we need to do some measures right now to pull this thing back in so it doesn't go above $150 million. The first thing they can do is they can take this collection system, which is broken down into 4 parts, and make it one contract and give it to one large contractor and let them just go for it. The other things they need to do are to get all of their ducks in a row, put this plan, get a project manager on board now, get the assessment district vote done now. We need more staff. We need to get together with the town, and this project's going to be a 5-day-a-week project. It's not going to be a 4-day-a-week project. So the town's got to get on board, and their inspectors have to be available on the Fridays that they're off now. The district's going to have personnel available. There's tons of stuff that need to be done, and we need to have it done now and get it planned now. I see phase 2 and 3 running somewhere between 80 to 100 million. So this total project's going to jump to about a $250 million when we complete all 3 phases.
Okay, thank you. I have some good news for the candidates. I have only 4 more questions up here, so we will probably take these last 4 questions, hear the closing statements, and I predict we should be out of here about 7:20. Okay, next question, and I'm not sure what this pertains to, but you can respond to these as you see fit. So Ms. Orban, why did the High Desert Water District not follow through with the letters to the state reps for grants?
You know, I don't have that information. I wish I could. That's a great question. I really can't answer what the board did or didn't do during that time. I know that grants are not available at this time, and they haven't been available for a while. In 2010, we had Paul Cook address the town in one of the board meetings that the regional board put on here in town, and he indicated that there weren't funds at the state for this type of project. So I really can't address that. I don't know. It's a great question.
Ms. Sturgis.
I don't really know the specifics of that particular question. I do know that the High Desert Water District is working with state lobbyists and federal lobbyists. At the last meeting, they requested to the board of directors that they jettison the federal lobbyists because they could offset the money by giving more to the state lobbyists who are assisting them with the paperwork for the state revolving fund, which I spoke up to and I objected to. You build time and a relationship with your lobbyists. You don't just cut them loose and then say, well, we want to transfer the money over to another agency. And then the next question is, are you low on funds? Where do we stand with the money? And we really need to have an accounting. Why would they be trying to be offsetting? Especially in light of the last grant that was received was $500,000. That was a federal grant. So I don't understand their thinking, you know, of trying to cut off the federal lobbyists. We have to keep looking for grants. It's not the end game. Once we pass the assessment and we get the state revolving loan, that's just the beginning. We have to get more grants. We have to go to the federal. We have to go to the state. So I think that the inexperience on the part of the staff, and they're short-sighted. They're not looking at the distance. And because I objected to that, I implored them to hang on to our federal lobbyists, especially since we received a $500,000 grant, because we're going to need them for the long term. And so I do believe that that's going to be a real issue, and we have to keep pursuing it. And with this drought, I do believe it's providing an opportunity to release some of the funds and the monies.
Thank you. And Ms. Sturgis, right back to you. What, if anything, should the Yucca Valley Town Council be doing to assist with the nitrate issue affecting the town's major aquifer?
Oh, great. Okay. It has been proposed that the town of Yucca Valley look through the septic tanks and have them inspected and what have you. I do believe that that was something that should have been done years ago. We've missed that opportunity to do it now. putting the burden on our folks to do the septic inspections and the clean outs and what have you, is not going to delay and postpone having to put in a sewer system or some sort of collection system like that. What the town can do, and they can partner with the High Desert Water District. There's a lot of things that the town can do, and I'm really looking forward to them working and assisting. One of the things that the town can do is they can partner on the road pavement. We haven't heard from them. There has been some requests for agenda items to meet with the town of Yucca Valley to discuss infrastructure. Again, we pave the roads curb to curb. From the sewer project, there is nothing in place for the maintenance. And they're not going to last long without any maintenance. The roads need to have some maintenance. So the town has a really big important part. They cannot just step back and say it's all on the High Desert Water District. No, they have to partner. And if that means putting through an initiative, a tax that will dedicate to the sewer, then they're the ones that are going to have to do that, and they're the ones that should be doing that. So there's a lot of room. Another thing that the town can do is they can also start capturing these waters, put up some basins where the flow is coming in, and we can start trapping the water that flows and runs down the street. It's not good enough, you know, that you build a new home and you say, let the water run down the road. No, let's keep that water and capture it on individual lots so that it will permeate and go into the ground. There's a lot of things that the town can do on building, construction, and assisting in the water drought situation.
Ms. Orban, same question. What, if anything, should the Yucca Valley Town Council be doing to assist with the nitrate issue affecting the town's major aquifer?
The town can't do anything about the nitrate situation but support this water project individually and collectively. And I urge them to do that sooner than later. Let's get behind the assessment district vote. Let's get it passed. Let's get this sewer project funded, and let's get it started. So that's the biggest thing they can do. Beyond that, to help the sewer project move forward, they can do tons of things. I've explained a few things before as far as helping with the inspections and so forth. This project's going to disrupt this town immensely. The people need to know that, but I think the people will work with us to get it done sooner than later. So the town can help with whatever disruption measures are taking place and the complaints from the people. They can also help by perhaps making an initiative for a half-cent tax increase to fund this project. That would be nice. But as far as the nitrate levels, they really have little else they can do but support this sewer project.
Okay, next question. I'm going to rephrase this so that you can better answer it. What would you say to people who are asked to vote on a bond measure without a definite interest amount specified? And that goes to Ms. Orban first.
Okay, what you have to understand about this assessment district vote is that it really isn't going to make a lot of difference if the rate is 1.9% or 1%. There's about an $8 a month difference in your monthly bill. So all I can say is we need to get the assessment district vote passed. The other thing is that the number, this $18,000 number that you're being assessed, that's an estimate. That's an engineer's estimate. That's a budget, and I believe we can come under that budget if it's managed right. So when the final numbers are all put together, you may actually, and I'm hoping if I get on the board and I can accomplish this, you will actually pay less than what they're telling you now. So There may be some other grants that come into play that lower this, the project cost. So I think that, I don't think you have to be afraid of the percentage, because what you're really voting on is to fund the project. And the numbers are really budgets.
Ms. Sturgis?
The High Desert Water District Board of Directors feel that it's important to have a set percentage rate, and that's been one of the reasons why they've been delaying the assessment vote, because they want to be able to put out a firm interest rate number. As Gina pointed out, you know, if you're not watching the principal amount, what is the difference in the interest rate if the costs are escalating? I believe the board of directors is in a quandary, because every time they come to a board meeting, something comes up that they have to do and adjust, and therefore it's another delay, another delay, another delay. The engineer's report was submitted to the state revolving fund, and they had listed that they were going to have oxidation ditches, and that was not what the board of directors had requested. They had membrane technology. That mistake or oversight is going to cost somebody to come in, make an amendment to it, and delay it one more month. And it's things like this, these oversights and mistakes that are being made, that are not giving the board of directors any credibility, and that's because I believe they're not paying attention. I believe it's time to have somebody that's there, that's dedicated, that's going to follow through on this. I believe Gina belongs on the dais because of her expertise, and I believe I belong on the dais because I'm a fresh face, and I'm looking at the bottom line and I'm watching the numbers. We have wonderful, fine individuals as board members, but they become stale and complacent, and they're staying with the status quo. They're not paying attention, and therefore I wish that they will enjoy contributing to the community and let one of us or both of us serve you and get this assessment down and get it forward and have the transparency.
Okay, this is the last question before the closing statement, and I'm hoping it's one that's on an upbeat note here. What are your ideas for how to save money on the sewer project, and how would you help low-income people? Ms. Sturgis, you're first.
Well, we've touched on the low-income folks and what's available to help them out, but I believe that it's not necessary to try to reinvent the wheel. I spent several days down at the Cove in Cathedral City, and I know that when you have an experienced lead person who's helping these residential areas, they are really helping them. When we talked about what the town can do, they can assist. If you have an experienced person coming into some of these areas, there are some folks that want sidewalks, curbs, and gutters. And in the Cove, the little pockets of folks, they formed an assessment district, a mini assessment district, to assess themselves to put in sidewalks, curbs, and gutters. Now that can be assisted by the town of Yucca Valley, helping them to do that. And I think you have to go pocket by pocket and reach out to the individual residential homes, because this particular Hispanic family, this neighborhood pocket, were the lowest income, and yet they wanted curbs and gutters for their kids to play on, and so they went ahead and assessed themselves even more money because they wanted to have those sidewalks put in. And I think that that's what you have to do, is you have to let the individuals decide what is it that they want for their particular neighborhood, and that's how the town can help. Not that we want to go out and have maintenance districts everywhere, but that's another possibility to help these folks to put their connections on a 30-year assessment, and road maintenance perhaps, and sidewalks, curbs, and gutters if that particular neighborhood wants that. So that's how we can do. We have to find out what their needs are and of the individual pockets in our neighborhood.
Ms. Orban.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. What are your ideas for saving money on the sewer project, and how would you help low-income people?
Okay, we did talk somewhat on low-income people. To save money on the sewer project, we need to take the trunk system and send it out as one contract, not four. That's the first thing. The other thing is we need to move the sewer project start date up, and we need to shorten the construction time. We need to get this project done sooner rather than later. We pay a percentage of financing on what we borrow from the state revolving fund. If this project goes over 3 years, the 4th year of borrowing money on the state revolving fund will be another couple of $1 million. And the 5th year will even be more than that. Okay, so we need to get this project done now. We also are facing bond increases, we're facing material increases. Another reason we need to get this project done now. I think we need the leadership, and we need to have direction and a plan, and we need to get project management on board. There's all sorts of items that go in to make this happen, but it needs to get done now rather than later. This is how we're going to save money. We're already committed to this particular system. So right now, we really can't step back and look at other alternatives. We need to get the assessment vote passed. That's key. And get the project done now.
Thank you. It is now time for our 1-minute closing statements, and we begin the closing statements with Ms. Orban.
Thank you. I appreciate you all coming out tonight. And thank you, Dr. Kurt Duffy, for moderating. I'm the only candidate running for the High Desert Water District with experience managing multi-million-dollar construction projects. I'm honest and I'm truthful. I will work with the board to complete the project in 3 years or less, bring this project in under budget, and provide you with the facts as we go forward. It is time to pull together as a town and get this sewer project done. Let's put this project behind us. We can do this together. I know you want to see these things happen. Please vote for me on November 4th.
Thank you very much. Ms. Sturgis.
Yes, thank you very much for attending this evening. It's been a bumpy road just to have this forum and conduct the forum. Again, I'm not going to point any fingers because we have to move forward, but I was disappointed that the local Chamber of Commerce chose not to have a forum, but here it is. We're having one, and thank you very much for attending. I just want to use a little bit of my time to thank my husband, who is 1,000% behind me when he knew that I was uncovering documents and cost overruns and expensive wasting of money by the current board of directors. He looked at me and he says, how can you, knowing what you know, how can you not run? And he just turned 80 in February, and he's out there putting up my signs for deer. But I had to hear from him because it's a commitment. It's a 4-year commitment. There's a lot of unraveling and investigation. I know where to go. I know where the bodies are buried. And I've been tracking this water board and district for a long time. So I think that I can bring that, a fresh face, to the board. I do not have the experience that Gina Orban does, and I'm really glad that you have an opportunity to hear from her today, because we really need somebody like Gina on the board. And somebody told me, don't give away your votes, Margot. But I actually said at a previous forum, if you're trying to decide who to vote for, one or the other, or you don't like me, please do vote for Gina Orban. And I'm not throwing away my vote. I just know that we need her talents and skills, and I'm ready to serve you.
Thank you very much. Let's have a big hand for both of our candidates. Lastly, I'd like to thank our guest speakers tonight, Carolee Hargrove and Mike Lipsitz. I'd like to thank everyone who emailed in questions and submitted questions tonight. I'd like to thank all of you in the audience for taking part in what is a major community challenge. And lastly, I'd like to thank our candidates for being here. It is grueling up there. I don't know if you've ever done anything like this, but they deserve a big hand.
Thank you.